What's up, Mortgage Coach community? I am live with Dave Lykken from MBA in Nashville. I'm actually here in Southern California, but David is live from Nashville. And David, how's MBA this year?
It's surprisingly well attended. However, David, it's also interesting. They had a good number of registrations going into the conference, but a lot of people, or some number of people, I don't know what the percentage is, but you can tell it's not the same number of people that attended it like in recent years. So they had a good number of people that registered, but there have been a fair number of people that said we can't afford to go with where things are at. So companies pulled back. So paid for the registration and gave in their room and ate the expense. So, but it's interesting. There's a good activity here.
Yeah, well, I want to make sure we get some live updates on what the market update is. But I've heard everything from, hey, people are just too busy. A lot of people that I support are, there's a lot of recruiting taking place in this market. There's just a lot of opportunity, and they're busy in trenches at home and not out. So attendance is down. What's the overall vibe and energy?
The vibe is it's a reality. There's a reality and acceptance of where we're at. There's still a lot of optimism. I think what's most significant, I've got the slides from on Sunday at 4 p.m. here. Chief Economist Mike Frantantoni and Marina Walsh and team came on and talked about what the forecast is. And then we also Marina came on and talked about the earnings levels for our industry. I'm still wearing my badge here. I'm seeing my lanyard here in the picture. That's kind of looks a little tacky. I'll take that off. But what we're hearing, number one, I think is GDP. Let's talk about what's going on. What Michael Frantantoni said is we can anticipate with mortgage rates. And I thought this was interesting. You look at 2021, and I'm looking up here on my iPad, so if I'm looking away, I apologize. Mortgage rates were at 3.1, historical lows, just a phenomenal year in 2021. This year, 2022, the average rates have turned out. I think we had a high of 6.7. And the good news is in 2023, they're anticipating that dropping fairly significantly. Whether it's going to be enough, David, I think you and MortgageCoach can have a big influence on people's attitudes. I do with my podcast. It's going to be down to 5.4%. Now that's encouraging, and then continues to fall in 2024 to 4.5. That'll stay at that. They're predicting it staying at that level. David, those are really good numbers. And then if you look at the fundamentals underneath our industry, we look at the average age of a baby boomer or a Gen Zer that is choosing to buy a home. They're waiting until the age of 37. So that demographic, we haven't even begun to scratch the surface of first-time homeowners amongst that group. So you look at the fundamentals. That's what I mean by fundamentals. Demand. Demand is one of the most key fundamentals. We look at the demand that's coming into this. It's kind of like, how long can you hold your breath? But here's the challenge, David. People are bleeding out on the playing field. They're not being aggressive enough at cutting costs. And they're cutting, but they're not cutting at the rate that the production is falling. And that's what's going to be so difficult and painful for some people and cause for some companies, a good number of companies, to unfortunately leave the landscape. So my first 3 meetings were, Dave, don't tell anybody, but if you could have one of your clients and be interested in picking us up, we would like to take our chips off the table and go home. And that's when I was here. I flew in Friday. That tells me, and then it happened again on Saturday. I was here for the Empire event. It's amazing to me how many people are saying we are really concerned. So the loan originators that are listening to your podcast, and I know you have a much broader audience than that, just stay in here, hang in. We're going to get through this, and we're going to be coming out of this with an amazing cycle ahead of us.
Yeah, no, I had a conversation with Shayla Gifford. I actually interviewed her on our channel a few hours ago.
That's awesome, amazing.
Yeah, and she was giving suggestions and some strategies. But the thing I'm hearing, don't bleed out. You've got to not lose a lot of money, if not be profitable, and live to fight another day. And there will be a very strong market ahead. Now, what are your thoughts? Did he get anything more specific than 2003 rates are going to go down? I've heard people everywhere from first quarter.
Yeah, good. He did do it on a quarterly basis. We're looking at, there's a number of wild cards, David, that are going to be playing in this. Economics, you look at, global economics and where we're at. We're looking at politically, we're coming into the midterms. That's just an insane period. Anytime you're in an election, Dave Stevens used to say, this is just a crazy season here in DC. So there's a lot of things that are happening. I think there are a lot of unpredictable things that are not necessarily tied to economics. There is a general sense from a number of people here, people that are in the know, that I would say have good connections into the Feds, are saying they're now more concerned within the Fed that they have oversteered the car. And that while those are not a majority of votes, there is a growing sentiment within the Federal Reserve is that we've gone far enough. In fact, an increasing number of people are saying we may have oversteered. We need to be very careful on this. It's encouraging to us to hear that within what that could mean for the mortgage industry if we actually see rates go down. Obviously, that is indicated by a 5.4% high rate for 2023, the highest rate that we'll see by Michael Frantoni. It's also interesting that the 10-year he's predicting in 2022. Well, this hasn't been up to the 10-year. We've just seen this thing skyrocket over what he wrote down on this slide already. But he's saying it would be down to 3%, and then 2024 back down to 2.5%. They'll stay at that rate. So there's some good numbers, David, that are here. It's just us adjusting our attitude and the building to last long. And what are people doing in their activity to focus on the future and not the here and now present? I understand the difficulty of that.
Got it. So I guess the breaking news is they do predict rates down in the 4s and 5s. Again, that's straight from the MBA. Would you mind forwarding me those slides so that I can put them?
I'll be happy to. I'll be happy to. I was literally sitting in the session and snapping pictures with my iPad. So I'll send them to you, David, and I'll do my best to crop them up a little bit. Yes, absolutely. I'll send them over to you. One of the ones that's really interesting is second quarter. This is one that Marina Walsh got into. What is the amount of bleeding that's going on? Second quarter was a net loss of 5 basis points negative. And I could try to find that slide here real quickly when Marina was talking and let you know what that number was and where we're looking. See if I can get that up here real quickly. But it was significant to see the amount. Oh, I don't have that evidently here. I thought I have it, but I do have the slide. I just don't have it on my iPad right here in front of me. So we're going to see we saw second quarter 5 basis points. The worst we've ever seen is 11 basis points. I see every evidence that this third quarter, we're here at October 24th. We're going to be wrapping this quarter up. We'll have the statistics in. We should by the end of November, first part of December, for where the losses are. I'm predicting it will be historical, down as much as to 20 basis points negative. That is never been. If that in fact comes to pass, I'm not an economist, so don't use that as anything official. I've just been in the industry for 49 years, been watching these numbers and tracking it pretty much most of my career. We're going to see these numbers at the worst, and that's third quarter. And then we're heading into the fourth quarter. This will be one of the years, unusual downturn, and it's punctuated because of the expansion that we had. We're going to have 3 quarters of negative numbers. Second, third, and fourth quarters are going to be all negative. And it's possible, if we don't do some serious fixing on this, that we could see Q1 also being that. But 3 quarters of negative numbers, it's unprecedented. Usually the things correct themselves by then. So the number of factors are going to be playing into this, David. Stunning that we have it. Not just we could see. I'll be interested to see what the number is. It's also interesting that those that have loan servicing are those that are obviously have that income that is keeping them with less losses or just slightly profitable. So servicing is one of those things. The mortgage bankers that retain servicing have a decided advantage in this kind of market. So,
all right, and let's get to these questions. And if you think of anything else you want to give us, I wanted to get, hey, what
Yeah,
was the Fed's, not the Fed, but what was the MBA prediction? It
well,
doesn't look
you
like
got the
we
GDP.
have
Yeah,
any questions.
yeah. Okay. I was gonna say,
Oh,
if
wait,
there's
did you
anything
see a question?
specific no, I just was looking at the information here. It's
Raskin. Raskin did ask what percentage of companies do you think will, literally either be cycling, rolling up, and what time frame do you think we'll see that by the end of the year? Or do you think like Q1?
Yes, there's going to be already just what I'm seeing here. The fourth quarter is going to be marked by some of the greatest number of roll-ups and strategies. Now, this what it means. If you're an originator listening to this, what that means is you may just have a different business card. You have a chance if you're a winner and you have the right attitude to just keep pressing forward amidst these challenges. You're just going to be working for a different company, and it may be you as a group. There were 3 companies that just merged. I can't mention who they are. That's going to be announced here shortly. And a good number of those companies. One particular one that everyone knows about. I'm going to keep it out because the guy that acquired the company thought he was going to be able to keep all the loan officers. It's naive to say that you're going to be able to keep the loan officers just because you acquired the company. It is so critical in a merger and acquisition. If you're on the acquiring side, that you get out ahead of it, provide leadership, provide clear indication of how you're going to run the company and how it's going to work, David. That is going to be the most important thing that goes on in the way that you successfully or unsuccessfully pull off a merger. So I think anytime there's a merger talk or even rumors, there's a number of rumors running through this place right now, the halls of this. I'm in the exhibit hall, I'm in one of the breakout session rooms, just kind of borrowed this because there was no one in it. What I'm hearing is a number of rumors of, do you know that this company is in talks of acquiring? And these are some of the biggest originators in the nation. So we're going to have a lot of change. What that means is anyone who thinks they own their loan officers is absolutely one of the most naive individuals in the mortgage industry. Mortgage industry, with a mortgage loan officers may in fact collect a paycheck and maybe be a W-2 employee, but they see themselves as very independent. So loan officers, make sure you listen carefully to what's going on. Don't jump. It could be worse. I'm thinking of one particular merger that I'm fairly confident is going on. And it's a significant, some titans. That could actually be a really, really good one. And I think people get concerned. Recruiters start, like a pack of wolves, start going around the herd that's being acquired, and they start picking off the ones. I would say, an abundance of, inquisitive, minds should go at that, not just move, because you don't know what you're moving off into. We'll talk about that forever, David.
Fair enough. Well, one thing I know, one thing I know for sure, it's a market for leaders. It's a market for leadership.
Yes.
And thank you for coming in and giving some leadership. If anybody wants to follow your podcast, you have one of the longest running, biggest followings in the entire
you and I together,
industry.
we got that title together, dude.
We do.
It's easy. We started the same year. I mean, 15 years I've been doing this. So go look at it.
We have two of the longest running. So how do they follow you?
Yeah. Lykken on Lending, www.Lykken, Lykken. That's Norwegian. That's good luck in Norwegian. So listen to my podcast, you get some good luck there. So LykkenOnLending.com. And then you can follow me on LinkedIn. Love to connect with your group. Your tribe, David, is just one of the most amazing, because I think by nature of us having our podcast, we draw those that are most serious as professionals in this industry. And then on top of it, those that are using your tools are employing some of the best, not the best technology or the best tools to maintain their edge in the market. So kudos to you, the success you're having. So thrilled to be in relationship with you. And I hope this has been of some benefit. I think it's kind of there's a cloud over this conference this year, but there's everyone's starting to try to think on the other side of it. And what does this look like? And that's going to be for over half of this group.
Well, I appreciate you, David. I'm looking forward to having you on the channel again soon, seeing
Good.
you in the real world. And thanks for jumping on, brother. Take care.
Thank you. Appreciate you, man. Blessings.
All right. Thank you. And everyone, give it a like if you got value, share it with your mortgage friends. Make sure you follow Lykken on lending. Take care, everybody.
Appreciate you.